Welcome to ICI Podcast. We're going to be discussing Enoch 14 through 16 today, and one of those things that we're going to be discussing is a potential place that maybe we got our UFO tech from. So if you stick around, you're going to find out some more about that. And as a refresher as to what was happening last week, Enoch had just delivered the reprimand to the angels that he had gotten from God to give to the angels, the 200 angels that had come down to earth and caused great sin. And when they received that reprimand, they in turn gave Enoch a petition to give to God, essentially requesting that God go easy on them. So that's where we pick up here. And also Enoch, after he had received that petition, he went to the city called Dan, was reading the petition, fell asleep, and fell into a vision. And what we're going to talk about today is what he saw in a vision and was recounting to these angels. So picking up in Enoch 14. And the book of the words of righteousness and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, that's angels, I wrote, according to the command of the Holy Great One, that's God, and I wrote your petition. So this is Enoch talking to the angels, to these 200 angels. And in the vision it was shown to me thus: Behold, clouds were calling me in the vision, and a mist was summoning me, and the path of the stars and lightnings were hastening me and driving me, and winds in the vision made me fly and hastened me and lifted me up into heaven. And I entered until I drew near to a wall built of hailstones, and a tongue of fire was around it, and it began to frighten me. And I entered into the tongues of that fire, and drew near to a great house built of hailstones, and the walls of that house were like paving stones of snow, and its floor was of snow. So this is Enoch's attempt at trying to describe what he saw. And its ceiling was like the path of the stars and lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was like water. And a flaming fire surrounded the wall all around, and its gates were burning with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as snow, and there was no delight in it for me because of that fear. So this is the outer courtroom of the throne room, and he wasn't able to find awe or pleasure in what it was he was seeing, because instead it was frightening him considerably. And as I was shaken and trembling, I fell upon my face, and I saw in the vision, and behold, another house greater than that one, and all its gates were open before me, and it was built of tongues of fire. And in every respect, it so excelled in glory and magnificence and size that I wasn't able to describe it to you, its glory and its magnificence. He's saying, see, he can't actually put into words what he was seeing, but he's doing so at the best of his ability. And this, in fact, is the main throne room that he was now seeing before him. Its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings, and the path of the stars and its ceilings were also of fire. And I looked, and I saw in it a high throne, and its appearance was like ice, and its wheels, notice it has wheels, and until I read this, I had never paid any attention to that in the Bible, which we're about to discuss right after I read this verse here. And its wheels were like the shining sun, and its cherubim were like the flaming fire. So the throne has wheels and cherubim, okay? So let's talk about the throne, its wheels, and its cherubim. You actually see this in a couple of places in the Bible. We're going to start here with Daniel 7:9, which reads, I kept looking until the thrones were set up. And these particular thrones that he's talking about, multiple thrones, are the 24 thrones of the elders that surround the throne of God, okay? And the Ancient of Days, God, took his seat, and his garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was flames of fire, and its wheels were burning fire. So it's mentioned right here in Daniel 7:9. And again, It is mentioned in Ezekiel 1 and Ezekiel 10. I won't read all of this to you. I'm going to pull out part of Ezekiel 1. The first part of Ezekiel that I'm leaving out describes the angels, the 4 angels, these cherubim. The second part that I'm going to read to you describes what these wheels look like that are they're not connected to the angels, but they go where the angels go. They don't leave the angels. This is going to be in Ezekiel 1, 15, 22 through 26. 1, 15 through 22, and then 26. So, now as I looked at the living beings, I saw one wheel on the ground beside the living beings, for each of the 4 of them. So each cherubim had one wheel. Regarding the appearance of the wheels and their construction, they gleamed like chrysolite, which is beryl or olivine, and the 4 were made alike. Their appearance and construction was a wheel set at a right angle within a wheel. So it was a wheel that had another wheel that was at a right angle within it. Whenever they moved, they went in one of their 4 directions without turning as they moved. Regarding their rims, they were so high that they were awesome and dreadful, and the rims of all 4 of them were full of eyes all around. Whenever the living beings moved, the wheels moved with them. And when the living beings rose from the earth, the wheels rose also. Wherever the spirit went, the beings went in that direction, and the wheels rose along with them, for the spirit of life of the living beings were in the wheels. Whenever they went, these went. Whenever those came to a stop, these came to a stop. And whenever they rose from the earth, the wheels rose close beside them, for the spirit of the living beings was in the wheels. Now stretched over, verse 22 of Enoch 1, now stretched over the heads of the living beings, there was something like an expanse, looking like the terrible and awesome shimmer of icy crystal. Now above that expanse over their heads, there was something resembling a throne. So here is he talking about the throne that these cherubim were part of. It appeared like it was made of sapphire or lapis lazuli, and seated on that, which looked like a throne, high up was a figure with the appearance of a man, which is God. Okay, so, and this is just a segue. I'm going to make a short segue here. So we just discussed these wheels, and that they moved, and they moved in in ways that we can't even imagine. A wheel within a wheel. So I was listening the other day, and I heard Tucker Carlson. He was on the Joe Rogan show, and they were discussing UFOs. You can go look for the clip yourself on X, is where I found it. But they were talking about UFOs, and Joe asked him what he thought about UFOs, and the immediate connection that Tucker made was these wheels that are talked about in Enoch 1. And he made that that connection as that these wheels are, in fact, UFOs, or the tech is where we got that from. He said, we didn't get the tech from China or US or Russia, but that it is supernatural tech, and it's not from another planet, it's from right here, our planet. And that's where that UFO tech came from. I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and say that is exactly where the tech came from. Could be that, that it was given to us from demons, not from friendlies, but from demons that gave us the tech, and only for, as you can see, it's not going to be for our good. It will be for evil intent. So, just one of the when Tucker was talking about it, he was very, that's the way it is. There's no other way. That's just has to be the way. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to take that hard line. Just one of the possibilities out there. It's something that you can decide. I'm sure that we're going to get a lot more revealed to us as time goes on. So let's continue on here. Verse 13 of chapter 14, Enoch. And from beneath the throne came rivers of flaming fire, and I was not able to look upon it. And the great glory sat upon it. His raiment was like the appearance of the sun and whiter than much snow. And no angel could enter into this house. And a great fire stood before him, and none of those around him could draw near to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. That's usually a myriad of angels, they'll say. But he had no need of any counselor. And that would be referring to God. And the holy ones who were near to him did not leave, these cherubim, did not leave by night or day, nor did they depart from him. And I had been trembling until then, and I fell upon my face and was shaken. And the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, "Come here, Enoch, and hear my word." So imagine the great honor that this is, that God calls him forward. And one of the holy ones came to me and raised me up and brought me to the door, and I bowed my face. So the myriad of angels had to stay back a little. The cherubim and elders have basically a front row seat there around the throne. Enoch was given the special honor of being ushered to the throne of God. And he answered me and said to me, "Enoch, why have you come, and why have you asked me? And why have you been so eager concerning the truth?" Are we ever eager concerning the truth? Do we ask him? Do we ever, we limit ourselves all day long. God isn't the one who limits us. We limit ourselves. We don't ask. And the things that he has for us, we don't think we're worthy to receive. We need to ask him, and we need to ask him who he thinks that we are and what we're worthy of. We're the ones who limit us. Satan is the one who lies to us, not him. We need to open our mouth and ask. Enoch opened his mouth and asked, and then put him before the throne of God. It says we have bold access. Most of us don't believe that, and we don't want to ask. We don't want to ask for the things that God has already has for us. He's just waiting for us to open our mouths and to believe. So when's the last time you've asked? Or believed, for that matter? So, little segue there. These are the watchers who have left the high heaven and have defiled themselves with the women, and have done as the sons of men do, and have taken for themselves wives, and have greatly corrupted the earth. Therefore say to them, you'll have no peace. For you will not have peace because of the great iniquities that you have committed, and because of all the works of blasphemy and iniquity and sin that you have done. And say to them, you'll have no peace because all the mysteries have not yet been revealed to you. For you were created spiritual, possessing eternal life and immortal in all the generations of the world. Therefore, I did not make wives for you, for the dwelling of the spiritual ones is in heaven. And now the giants who were born from spirit and flesh, they will be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth will be their dwelling. Evil spirits came out from their bodies because they were created from above, and from the holy watchers, these angels, was their origin. So therefore they will be evil spirits on the earth, and they will be called evil spirits. So notice here, what are some of the things that are considered evil spirits today? Well, it is these offspring from these angels that came down to earth, these 200 angels that came down to earth, and they interbred with human women. So part of their punishment was that they weren't, they're corrupted is what they are. They couldn't go to heaven, couldn't go back, and there was no place for them. So they become evil spirits. The spirits of the giants will do violence, they'll do wrong, they will corrupt, they will attack, they will fight, they will break, and they will cause sorrow, and they will not eat, but they will fast and be thirsty, and they will strike. And these spirits will rise up against the sons of men and against the women because they came out from them. And from the day of the slaughter and the destruction and the death of the giants, From the soul of their flesh, their spirits will go out, and they will do violence, and they will do wrong, and they will cause destruction until the day of the great judgment, which is what has been occurring ever since this God's judgment of the flood. Is these spirits have been roaming around, causing all kinds of trouble to us humans. And in those days, they will not be brought to an end, but they will not return to their original state either, saying that they're now in this evil spirit state. And in those days, the earth will be cleansed from the corruption and from all iniquity and from all sin and from all torment, and I will not send upon it any more torment from generation to generation forever. That's once talking about the second coming there. Chapter 16. And at the death of the giants, when their souls have gone out from their bodies, they will become evil spirits, and they will do violence. They will corrupt until the day of the great judgment. And now to the watchers who have sent you to petition on their behalf, who are formerly in heaven, say this: you were in heaven, and no mystery was revealed to you, but a stolen mystery you learned, and you reported it to the women in your hardness of heart. Okay. So, and then it says, and through this mystery, the women and men are multiplying evils upon the earth. So it's saying that it was not for these angels, the stuff that they revealed, which we've gone over in the previous chapters, the things that they taught specifically to women, and then the women went and taught to the men. It wasn't for the angels to do that. So they took this knowledge, stolen knowledge, basically, and they brought it down here, and they they taught it to the human women. It wasn't their place to do that. That would have been the Holy Spirit's place, God's place, to reveal it to men as he chose the when and to who he chose to reveal those things. And instead, these angels came down and took this knowledge, and they revealed it to men. So that was part of their sin, not just the interbreeding, but the stolen knowledge. And I mean, that could go right along hand in hand with demons giving us UFO tech. It's stolen knowledge that wasn't meant for men to have. Therefore say to them, you'll have no peace. And to the giants and to their fathers, the watchers, the Lord has said, let my judgment be upon you according to your deeds. You will not have peace. And against the giants and against their spirits, the judgment will be for all the days of eternity according to all that you have done. And in the days of the slaughter and the destruction and the death of the giants, when the spirits have gone out from their bodies, so this happened just before the flood, their flesh will be destroyed, and anything that didn't get, the giants didn't get destroyed before the flood because they were to fight each other. That was part of the punishment, because God wanted the angels to see the destruction. That was part of their punishment, to see the destruction of this corrupted offspring. And the flood got what might have been left. So their flesh will be destroyed before the judgment. Thus, they will be destroyed until the day of the great consummation, which is the end of the time at the end. The great judgment in which the age will be consummated for all the watchers and all the sinners. So regarding the time of the end, where everybody will face judgment. So that is the end, 14 through 16 of Enoch. I will see you guys next Friday. I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I'll see you again later.